let's see here. Let me turn it around. All right. Howdy, everybody. Missed y'all last week. I was gonna have somebody come on, or Reece, and he had the incident with his dog, and that was a tough week for him. And I know we're gonna shed some light on that tonight and talk about it, and his experience with that. And but before we get started, I wanted to give a couple shout outs to Let's Talk Augusta. If y'all haven't followed them yet, go follow Let's Talk Augusta. I'm actually sponsoring his cast drop this week, and I want to say he's doing it on Saturday, but go to his page and just follow him and his page. He's doing some great things for the community. These little cast drops are so fun, and it's a lot of money, so I think it's going to be the biggest pot he's ever had. So y'all check them out. Southern Precision Outdoors, another great page and that y'all need to go check out. Got lots of cool thermal stuff for predators, hogs, coyotes, all that good stuff. Muddy Water Catfish Tournaments is letting out this weekend. I want to say I read it was at Lake Greenwood, but go on Muddy Water Catfish Tournaments if you happen to be interested in maybe still entering in that tournament. I think there's still time to. And before I get started with Reece and Zach, I wanted to mention I appreciate all my new followers that I got, and if any of y'all happen to watch this, I appreciate your support, and hope we can keep growing, and we can all grow together, and it's gonna be awesome. And so let's go ahead and try and get these guys on here. You there, Reece?
Yeah. Can you see us?
Yeah, I got you, brother. All right, now let me work on getting him on here now.
All right.
I still don't see his name yet. You know how it goes sometimes. Sometimes it takes a minute or two.
Oh yeah.
So everybody just bear with us.
Trying to collapse this.
Building a brooder.
Yeah, do y'all know what they're talking about? Said
Like
Zach, I see your comment. Okay, I got you.
You want me to say what?
All right, should be working out, Zach.
I think we're fine.
Zach,
What's going
you there?
on?
Here comes that.
I hear him on there.
Can y'all see me yet?
Yeah, I can see you, Zach.
Perfect.
Yeah, we got two phones going, so.
All right, cool. Let me just do one thing real quick on mine. I wanted to it not to be so close to my face. All right, let me see how it looks. All right, I guess we can roll with this. I think I need to go this way a little bit, maybe. Hold on, let me check this out. Okay, yep. All right, anyways, I'm good. So, how y'all doing tonight?
Doing good, brother. How about yourself?
Good. Just to fill everybody in, I got Zach Turner with Fire Eye Drone Services, and Mr. Reece Baker and his wife Sarah, and we're here to talk about some how Reece and them met, got to meet Zach, and kind of an incident that kind of took place last week. But first off, Zach, if you don't mind, tell everybody like a little quick bio about yourself.
Yeah, Brent and Reece, thanks for having me on. I'm 21, live in Statesville, North Carolina. I'm in Fire Eye Drone Services. I drive a roll-off truck here out of Statesville in the local area. Enjoy hunting, fishing, just being outdoors. I got a year-old chocolate lab that is nothing but an attention hog, and I got a girlfriend of a year and a half, and just living life to the fullest.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Real quick, I think either one of y'all's phones or computer or something, I can hear like a lot of, I can feel like I can hear us in the background. Do y'all hear that?
What are you hearing, man? What does it sound like?
I just kind of hear, I don't know, I can just hear something. It feels like it's maybe us talking. I feel like I can hear it. Do y'all hear that?
I do.
No, I don't hear it.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not bad, but hopefully, you know, it's not annoying anybody. I don't think it's too bad. But anyway, man, let's get back on it. So what got you wanting to start your business with the drones?
Well,
your drone service.
Well, as a kid, I started off flying the little nano drones that you can get from Walmart, and flew those into people's hair, flew them into the side of the house. I mean, I just enjoyed flying them. We'd go on vacation and we'd fly on planes or whatnot, and I enjoyed planes and helicopters and stuff like that could fly. And about August of last year, I decided I'm going to get my Part 107 and see where it takes me, which is my drone pilot's license. So went and got it and passed it, and was watching YouTube one night and come across drone deer recovery and Mike Yoder on YouTube. And I said, oh, drones and hunting, the best of both worlds. And it just took off from there.
How about that? Was it really hard to get your drone license? Like, what's the process of that?
It wasn't terribly difficult. It was just a lot of studying. I studied really, really hard, took a lot of practice tests for 2 to 3 weeks straight. I mean, as I was driving during the day, that's what I was doing. I was listening to the videos as I'd stop and I'd take practice tests, stuff like that. So it wasn't really challenging. It's not all about drones. The test isn't. The test is a lot about airplanes and helicopters and that kind of aircraft. And I guess that's just so you can kind of stay away from them. You can kind of just stay out of their way. If you learn their patterns and learn their airspaces and stuff like that, you just learn how to stay out of the way, keep everybody safe.
Yeah, that's true. I can understand that. Let's see, Reece, you got anything for him?
What's that?
I said, you got anything for him?
I'm sorry, I had to go. The dog was barking. I missed the beginning.
Oh, you're good, bro. I thought my bad.
What were you asking for the people?
Well, he was talking about getting his license to his drone operating license, and he went through talking about how he got that and all that, and I was just kind of touching with you. I hadn't heard you yet, and I just kind of wanted to see if you had anything for him.
What was something he said a minute ago about helicopters and planes?
Yeah, he was talking about staying out of their way in the airspace with his drones and stuff. Like some of the questions and stuff, the things that they wanted him to know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not savvy with drones, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that out of the way. What stood out to me though is when he said there was a lot of stuff that had to do with airplanes and helicopters. Those drones, I mean, it's just like a helicopter. I was like, he had a landing pad and everything. I'm completely ignorant to drones up until that night when I saw him using it. I was amazed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, man, if you want to kind of get into kind of how y'all met under those unfortunate circumstances, kind of let everybody know. In that post I made, I kind of let everybody know ahead of time a little bit about what it was going to be about. So, if you kind of want to touch on that.
Yeah, man. So, most everybody knows. Most of my followers, they know the circumstances with Boogie, my beagle, one of the beagles. They know that he got snake bit, and it was almost 2 days, and I still hadn't found him. And so I got online on Google and started searching local drone services. And I think it was Cole Brooker. It's Brooker or Booker. I can't remember. I think it's Brooker, but he recommended looking into a drone service, and so I did that. The second day Boogie was gone, so I called a guy out of Connolly Springs or Valdez, one of those. It just so happened that his drone was out of service. There was something wrong with it, and so he recommended me to Zach. So from there, as I was getting the phone number from him, Sarah was calling Zach, talking on the phone with Zach as I was still on the phone with the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's how it happened. And we got up and met up with Zach out there about 9:15 that night.
He asked us a lot of questions from the get-go to determine if he thought he was going to be able to help us or not. He wanted to know how big of an area we thought Boogie might be in. He wanted to know what the terrain was like. He asked about the foliage. Like, he was really thorough, because I got the feeling that if he thought he was not going to be able to help us, he wasn't going to waste our time, and we appreciated that. So, and I'm not really good with like, how many acres is this? I don't know. So I was able to send him maps from Hunt Stand and show him, the general area that we thought that Boogie was in, and then he let us know that we needed to wait till after dark, so that everything had a chance to cool off a little bit, because it's a thermal drone that detects heat.
Mhm.
So we agreed to meet out there about 9:15, and went out there and met him at the farm.
That sounds really good that he's very thorough with everything, because that seems like a lot of great questions to ask beforehand. I guess so. He's kind of familiar with it too. Would you say that, Zach?
Yeah, see, whenever I come out to a call, or whenever I get a call, I want to judge if I have a good shot, because if someone says, well, I've got my Chihuahua that went missing in 1,000 acres and it's full leaf coverage like it is now, I can still come out and look if someone wants me to, and there's still a chance, but the chance is very, very low. And I'm not here to waste anybody's time or anybody's money, because not only is it their time and money, it's also my time and money as far as driving out there. And I'm not in the business of wasting people's time. I'm in the business of finding whatever needs to be found.
That sounds great. Yep. That's how it should be, man. That's really good. So, Reece, I didn't know, I must have missed it at some point, but you did say Boogie got bit by a snake. Was that the final, what y'all just figured out, or what?
Yeah. And I figured that out that day within the first 30 minutes, because I had two other beagles that had gotten hit by a snake, but I didn't realize it until when they first came out. I didn't realize they'd been bit until after I loaded them up, and I looked back in the dog box probably 5 minutes later, and I saw Preacher and Noah swelling up.
Because Boogie didn't come out.
Right. Yeah, Boogie never came out. He never came out of the thicket. And so then I knew Boogie had gotten hit by a snake. But sometimes, well, majority of the time, if a dog is hit pretty good by a copperhead, sometimes they'll lay up, for a day or two, and sometimes they've been known to lay up for 3 days and recover, and they'll pop back out. And that's what I was hoping for. And I kept going out there. I think it was on a Tuesday. It was on Tuesday, right?
It was.
I ran it. And so I spent the rest of the day Tuesday out there.
We went out there Tuesday night.
Yep. And then we went back out. Sarah and I went back out there Tuesday night, and we searched for a while. We called and went back out there that morning on Wednesday, and I was there all day. And then I came back and I pulled back in the driveway, and I remembered seeing a group of crows flying around. So in my head, I was like, I wasn't thorough enough. So I left the driveway and drove all the way back out there and started searching again. Another thing I wanted to touch on too is, I don't know if we mentioned it, but he spoke on if it's more than 24 hours, it's going to make it tougher to spot, the heat coming off of them.
Oh, that makes sense, actually. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. But so, anyway, get back to what happened is I knew when I saw them other two swelling up that he had been hit by a snake, and we'd never lost one to a snake bite before until now. And I thought he was going to recover. I thought he was going to, recover and pop out, but he never did. So that night, anyway, let me go back a little bit. When I noticed Preacher and Noah swelling up, I immediately grabbed some Benadryl. Popped them both with some Benadryl. Now, Benadryl does not stop the effects of venom. That's not what it's used for. And so I got in touch with my buddy Keith and told him what had happened or whatever, and he had some Dexes on, and that's also, to stop inflammation and an allergic reaction. And he hit him with some amoxicillin just to stop any kind of, just in case they, got infected or whatever. But so pretty much what the Benadryl does is it stops just in case there might be an allergic reaction. To stop anaphylaxis, it'll give you time.
Thank you, Brandon.
It'll give you time just in case you need to get them to a vet. It'll buy you some time to stop them from going into anaphylaxis.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to see the comments on here because they're not showing up on Reese's screen.
Oh, yeah.
I got them right here.
Yeah, y'all ask away. For everybody watching, y'all have questions for any of us. Let's go ahead and ask away. We'll answer them.
So,
Reece, real quick, Reece, I just had a quick question. Were your dogs getting hit in the legs, or were they getting hit on the body or the face, or where at?
So Preacher got hit on the cheekbone, and he actually had blood coming out of his cheekbone right there. And Noah got hit, I think, in between the eyes, because I could see spots right there in between his eyes. And when we found Boogie, Sarah said she saw bite marks on his ear. I think, what was it?
On his neck, his ear, his face, and he might have had one on his hindquarters too.
Yeah, his hindquarters. But the one that in the neck area, that's what got him. And the fact that he was bit multiple times.
Yeah, that's crazy. I hated hearing about it. I know I've had my dog Sarah got bit twice in 2 years. One summer she got bit by a copperhead, and the next summer she got bit by another copperhead. And seeing your dog's face swell up like that it's pretty crazy. But she made it through. Luckily, I've always heard that. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but more than likely, if it was strong enough to kill Boogie, do you think it was probably a rattlesnake versus like a copperhead?
I think it was more likely that it was a copperhead. They're a lot more common around here, and because the other two dogs were okay, and they recovered so well, I don't think it was a rattlesnake. I think it was a copperhead. I think that either there was more than one, or there was either more than one, or Boogie might have had that snake in his mouth, and you know how dogs will death shake something. He might have run off with that snake in his mouth, and that might have been why he ended up with multiple bites. And he also was not right where, like Reece was able to pinpoint where he heard Boogie last, and that's not where we found him. So I tend to think that Boogie ran off with that snake in his mouth, shaking it up, and that's why he had more than one bite. Why he wasn't exactly where Reece had heard him last, or heard the three of them last, and why it was able to take him down.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Now that you say it like that, like him probably having it in his mouth is probably exactly what happened.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that for a second. I've known some dog hunters in the past that have had dogs that were bit by rattlesnakes before, and it's a little bit gruesome. But they said that the flesh will kind of almost turn liquid and kind of like rot away if it's a rattlesnake, just because that's just more potent venom, more a different type of venom. And Boogie didn't have that, and based off what Reece was saying, he didn't have. It wasn't, the flesh wasn't rotting off; it was just swelling, almost like a major bee sting or something like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah, I'd say it was copperhead, just because, and there is a chance that maybe Preacher and Noah were, maybe they were dry bites, and that's the only way it could have been a rattlesnake, and then maybe it got full injection into Boogie, but other than that, I think it's a copperhead.
I got them. So when y'all met up, I think y'all was leaving off kind of like right around when y'all met up that night. So tell us about like getting that drone going and that experience and how long it flew, and just kind of tell us about that.
Yeah, so
whoever, my bad, Reece or Zach, whoever wants to go on that.
Go ahead.
So whenever we got there, Reece and Sarah met me up there at the top of the road. And so we drove down there to the spot and got, close to it. And whenever I get set up, I got a spotlight, like a stand, or it's just a really bright, like floodlight. And I got it set up, got my little landing pad out, and I come with a 24-inch screen as well. So I get the screen set up, and then I get my drone box opened up and get the drone unfolded, the spotlight mounted on top, the batteries put in, get everything up and running there. And then I hook that screen, has an HDMI cable. I hook it into my remote. That way, as I'm flying, I can stand like at the back of the truck, and Reece and Sarah could watch the screen. And that gives us 2 extra sets of eyes. That way, if I'm looking and Reece is like, hey, what was that? I see a little something warm right there. I can turn and light it up. And if I miss it and they catch it, it's more the merrier. More sets of eyes, more people looking, and it also gives a little bit of a sense of accountability. That way, they're seeing everything I'm doing, and they get to see that I'm actually searching. Where really someone could come out there if they didn't have a screen where the customer couldn't watch, they could just fly around and kind of no. 2 hours later, all right, thanks for the money, let's go. This allows them also to, he put in the work. He checked every of the 30 rabbits that we've seen in that thicket, and every hot rock or every deer that was in the area. I mean, we checked everything that looked a little bit warm, and that's kind of holds a sense of accountability as well. So
the clarity of the screen was so impressive when, not only could we see on that big 24-inch screen the thermal view, that kind of black and white with something that's hot was glowing. But then when there was something that Zach saw that he wanted to take a better look at, he could zoom in on it. And I mean, zoom in like it was like he was, feet above it. He could zoom in so tight on it and then put a light on it, and it was like daylight in there. It would look just like a picture, like you're looking at us now.
Yeah, it was like a live, like we're doing right now. Like he zoomed in on a rabbit one time, and we could see that rabbit just sitting there nibbling and standing up. And,
the resolution was amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Not more than. Go ahead, Reece.
No, I was just going to add that when he did spot something warm, that thing had a spotlight on it. I mean, it looked like something. It looked like a Batman light or something. It was amazing. It was amazing.
If it's like that light that's on his profile picture or whatever. I believe
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
It was just like that. And he was actually able to lead us to, we were like, okay, well, he's looking at something right where that light is shining. And so the first time that we went in, because it was on a hot rock, we were looking at it on the camera at this thing that looks like the back end of a dog. And I even said, it's breathing, whatever it is breathing. Let's go.
Yeah.
And we take off, Reece and I take off running. We're climbing up through there. Zach is telling us on the phone, to go left or right. We're trying to get to where we're basically heading towards the spotlight so that we could find what it is. We were so sure that it was alive, and I guess it was just from the waves of the TV made it look like that, because it ended up being a rock. But he was able to direct us right to it. So we knew when that ended up not being it, and he kept looking, we knew that whatever he found, we were going to be able to get right to. And that was the big struggle in finding Boogie, was that it wasn't a big area. It's that it was so thick with briars, we couldn't cut the whole thing down, and we needed to know exactly where to go so that if we had to cut in, we could get directly to him. And that was not where someone, people would say, oh, send a tracking dog in there. I'm not going to send another dog in where one dog just got snake bit.
Yeah.
So being able to use the drone was a huge benefit, and not putting anybody else in danger.
That makes a lot.
Well, to touch on that too, it wasn't a huge place, but when you got some real thick stuff that's about 2 acres big, and I'm talking about like a wall, can't see through it, and briars that are 10 feet tall. If you can't pinpoint where something is as small as a beagle, nobody's gonna try to go trouncing through something like that, all back and forth. Taking chances of getting bit, yourself. Some of the places, the only way you're gonna at least try to look up under something, you have to get your face that close to the ground. And I'm not getting my face that close to the ground where there's snakes in there.
You could not grid search that place on foot. The only way to grid search that was going to be on with the drone from above. That's the only way.
Second to the drone, the only thing that could have grid searched it better was Reece and Sarah, because they had skin in the game. That was their dog. If it was just someone else that was coming in there, it's not like it's their dog and they're worried about their dog that could be passed or could be suffering. Other than the drone, there was no one else that was going to search that area better than Reece and Sarah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I've gone around and through some of the thicket already, and come to find out where we found Boogie, I might have been within 10 or 15 yards from that mound. All I had to do was cross that mound and go over the other side. But there was no way to know that he was right there in front of me. So that's where the drone service came in, big time.
Even whenever we had the drone and all three of us were walking in, Reece was in front with a machete, and we'll do the whole story leading up to that. But even once we got right on top of him where I could see the drone, I was watching us. I mean, Reece was still within 3 feet of Boogie and was like, I don't see him, and I was like, just look straight down, and that was how thick it was. And then he had to go pulling weeds apart to finally see there he was.
Wow. Man, y'all really were some big stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean I could just see a patch of him when I looked down. So I mean I had to clear stuff out from around him just so we could pull his body out.
Real quick, Raymond Smith said sorry for your loss, and I keep decks on hand all the time.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So in that case, I didn't have any decks on me. All I had was the Benadryl. As far as with Boogie, there wouldn't have been anything that I could have done medically because I couldn't find him and he wasn't coming out.
Yeah.
But I've got some decks on deck.
Decks on deck. There you
That's
go.
right.
That's right. That sounds good. Decks on deck. There we go. Well, I mean, it sounds like y'all had a great experience with Zach. I know it sounds like he's got a pretty cool setup.
It was really cool. And, I would have always, in the past, say, I've harvested deer before that I had to track, and I've called in blood tracking dogs before, and I think they definitely have their benefit. There's times I would absolutely use one again, but after having experienced what Zach was able to do with the drone, he could cover more ground faster and more thoroughly than the dogs could if they were blood searching a harvested deer. That's really, so I would say, his service would be good, not just, if you've got a lost pet, anything that's going to carry body heat that's lost in the woods, whether it be a lost pet, a harvested animal, that thermal drone service, that thermal drone is amazing. The resolution on it is amazing. What they're able to do with it is great. And Zach himself, if somebody's not in an area where Zach is available, then hopefully someone else would do what he did too. But not only did he just say, okay, here, go left and right, but when he was positive that this was actually Boogie, when he could see that it was for sure the dog, he didn't just lead us in. He came in with us. He went through the woods with us and continued to guide us as he got closer to where Boogie was, to make sure we were getting into the right spot. He wasn't just like, hey, he's over there. And no, he came in with us, really helped us get him out. I carried Boogie out. Reece had the machete and was kind of cutting the way out of there. And Zach was holding branches out of the way for me so that I could get out with Boogie in my arms. And he was fully in with us.
Yeah, he was in there. He was. We appreciated that big time.
That's awesome.
Brandon Broadway. Yeah, I appreciate you, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah, he said sorry for your loss, Reece.
Oh, yes. I didn't know if we had mentioned him yet or not. My bad. For everybody watching, if you haven't seen the videos, I made a reel a day or so ago on my page. You can go on my page and look back of Zach's business and check out some of these videos. You'll see for yourself just a few clips of what he does and everything. And going back on something real quick, Zach, did you want to touch on, for everybody listening, like maybe where you're located at, and like maybe touch on how far you're kind of willing to travel for, a case or whatever, and maybe touch on, some of your prices and stuff for everybody, because I feel like maybe everybody would want to know that.
Yeah, so I'm based out of Statesville, North Carolina. I've went probably 200 miles in a night. I think that might have been the furthest I've went, and that was down towards the kind of east. That was the central part of the state, kind of heading towards the coast. I'll go as far as someone will pay me to go. Once I get out past a certain range, unfortunately, I do have to charge mileage, because if someone wants me to come 300 miles, I'm gonna spend a lot in the fuel and a lot in time as well. So I have to charge mileage on that. But usually, like looking for a deer, like if someone within a certain mileage wants me to come out, they usually charge $250 to come out and search for the deer. And if or when, it's usually when I find this deer, I charge an extra $100 on top. And that's kind of like, I give my whole heart into it, regardless of if I'm going to charge the extra $100 or not. But I don't know, it kind of shows some skin in the game on both sides that, hey, look, he's working for something. If they don't know what kind of person I am, they can show them that, hey, look, he's working for that extra $100, and it's just kind of a little bit of an extra reward. And that's on the deer side. Looking for pets and livestock, I usually charge between $200 to $250 to come out for the first hour, and that includes, if I have to go further for mileage, that's, I'll add that on, and obviously be very open with everyone. But for the second hour of searching, I usually charge an extra $100. And then, so I come with 8 batteries. And it takes 2 batteries in the drone at a time, so I have 4 sets of batteries. And each set usually lasts about a half an hour, depending on the conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I keep a generator with me. So if we need to run 3 or 4 hours, I'll fire up the generator, plug it in, and I'll keep charging batteries while I'm flying. That way, as I'm flying, I'm charging these. I land, I switch out batteries. I can fly nonstop if I need to.
I got you. Yeah, that's probably a really good. I bet you. How long did it take you to figure out that you needed a generator?
Pretty quick. I learned off YouTube, so I don't have a lot of cases. I can cover so much area with 2 hours, especially with the leaves off the trees. I mean, I did a herd analysis towards the central to east part of the state back in January, and I covered 660 acres in 4 or 5 hours, and that was including stopping here and there for rain showers that were coming through because it was misty and foggy all day. And every buck I would find, I would take a picture of it and document it, and I was writing down like tally marks for a buck to doe ratio as far as someone knowing how healthy their herd is. So I'd cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time.
Okay, so now you've piqued my interest. What do you charge to like do something like that? And like, can people reach out to you to do like herd analysis? That's actually really interesting. I feel like a lot of people have got some big acreage would probably maybe be interested in contacting you for doing something like that.
Yeah, so herd analysis is a lot of folks in the drone deer recovery world know about it, but not a lot of people utilize it. And I think it could be utilized and be very successful. I don't have a set price like per acre or stuff like that because everything's different. I can go to 100 acres of woods and I'm going to price that different than 100 acres of field, or different than a mix of 50 acres of woods and 50 acres of fields. Because I mean, I can cover 100 acres of field in, I don't know, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I can't charge the same there. So it really just depends. And the best way for someone to figure out what I would charge is just to give me a call, shoot me a text, shoot me a message, and I'll give you a very modest price.
Yeah. That's very interesting. You should advertise that on your page. That's something that you could do and cover. I feel like that could take off and kind of be a good thing. And I'm gonna try to do that and help you out myself because that's really cool. And I can only imagine how many people. I was just gonna say I can only imagine how many of those services are out west where it's wide open. But y'all go ahead.
Hey Mike, how you doing, buddy? So I'm gonna chime in on this. Now that I know this about drones, I was like a caveman when it came to drones. Like seriously, now that I know this and I know Zach is that close by, we got a down deer and blood peters out. Now I know to give him a call and call him within a good time frame. Where it's still showing some heat.
And speaking on time frame, one of the biggest mistakes that I see, and this goes across deer, mainly deer, is someone will search for 24 hours looking for a deer. And like, well, we couldn't find it on foot. So then they call me, and then it starts to get iffy about heat. So some folks that know, even the ones that know about the drone service, still kind of save it for the last resort. And I can still get it done, but whenever it's the first call on deer, pet, livestock, whatever, it makes the success odds or rate go through the roof because everything's fresh, whatever it is. If it's a lost pet, it's still in the area. If it's a lost cow or horse, it's still in the area. I mean, granted, dogs and horses and cattle and deer, they can run, and they can run really far and really fast, but it just increases the odds, and everyone wants everything found that they have to come out to find.
What would you say the time frame is on a dead animal keeping a heat signature for you to be able to look up?
I usually say 24 hours. That's kind of stretching it. I really like to go less than that. Ideally, someone that's hunting in the evening shoots one, can't find it, and then calls me, and then that's whenever I come out, and I know everything's still hot then. I found them out at, I think 24 hours later. It might have been a little later than that, but it's really, really pushing it. So usually if it's shot in the morning and you can't find it during the day, and I've had folks that can't find it during the day, bring a dog in, dog can't find it, nighttime comes, let's call the drone. And I don't want people to think I can only fly at night. I can fly during the day, but it needs to be overcast, kind of like today was here in Statesville. It was mainly overcast. Flying in rain is really good as well, as long as it's not a full-on downpour. I can still do it. I just don't prefer to fly in a downpour. But the whole objective is to keep everything cooled off. A thermal drone is searching based off of heat. And if the sun is out, everything's warm and everything's a heat signature. So another one of the best times is first thing in the morning. Like even if it's been sunny this whole day, and then nighttime comes and I come out at 5 o'clock the next morning or something, that's really good as well, because it's had all night for everything to cool down, and it's a lot easier to search. Like even whenever we were out there searching for Boogie, and it was 9:15. It had been dark for an hour and a half, and it was somewhat overcast in the evening. The thermals were very good, but even the trunk of the tree and the core of the tree, kind of like right there behind me, that would stay somewhat warm. The setting that I use is called tint. So black is cold, and then white is warm, and then red is what's the hottest. So like if I were to turn my thermal on right now, with it being sunny and somewhat overcast today, the trunk of this tree behind me would be kind of like a pinkish white, somewhere in there, showing some heat, but not being fully hot, like where a human's 100 degrees or so, or an animal.
Now, Zach, let me ask you a quick question real quick. Do you have your drone available right now?
I do have it in the house. I can run and go get it.
I was just thinking in my little head here, how cool it would be maybe to, I don't know, is there some kind of way you can show everybody a little quick video that's just going straight down or something?
I could. Yeah, I could go get that.
Heck, that'd be pretty cool. Me and you chat about that, man. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Go ahead and get it, Zach.
I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier, Reece.
I know.
Because now that we're talking about it, it sounds like a good idea, maybe to get everybody a view of how one looks,
Yeah, it's man. I'm gonna tell you, out there like in the pitch black, watching that thing, man, it looks. And I mean, the sky. I mean, it looks like a helicopter. It sounds like a helicopter, like a mini helicopter.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. I mean, I was amazed. I was like, wow.
When I did that episode with the local news station, they had one. I want to say he told me, I don't know, man. It was like $5,000 or $10,000. It was somewhere up in that range. And I get what you're saying, man. It was really nice. I seen Zach's drone on one of his pictures, and this one looks similar to that one. So I don't know, man, but they're still all really nice.
Yeah, I asked him that night, and I think his setup was around $15,000. And man, that's a setup.
Yes, I believe it. I've seen some of the pictures, man. He's got a nice setup. Let's see. Mike said, do y'all have any info on anyone that does the same thing around Central Florida? So we'll have to, if you know, Reece, let them know, but we can ask that when he gets back.
Who was that? What are we looking at?
Somebody was asking.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah, if we knew anyone that does it in Central Florida. Zach might know, because maybe they have
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah,
they probably network just like we do as houndsmen. You know what I mean? If not, what I would do is just hop on Google and do a local search for drone services. Thermal drone services. Here's something I was wanting to touch on, and I'll touch on it while Zach's going right now. But my thing is, I know that I'm going to be using Zach's service because here in the last couple of years, there's been a few times where pretty sure deer may have been hit fatally, but the blood petered out, and but the blood looked good for a long ways, and then it just petered out. And I feel like, in that situation right there, we could use it. But here's my other thing. Me being old school the way that I am, and a lot of guys, a lot of my followers and my friends, y'all know that I'm an old school hunter, and I believe in knowing how to track your deer. You get a good shot on one, you got blood, track your deer. Until now, if you don't have the experience in tracking, then that's one thing. But to me, I feel like don't start falling and relying on technology when you don't have to, when you absolutely don't have to.
Yep.
I just believe that everybody should still learn and rely on the old way of tracking.
I think we should, but I think we owe it to, I think whatever, no matter what method you use, first of all, use them all. You owe it to the deer
Absolutely.
to do everything you absolutely can to locate it.
Absolutely.
None of us want to make a bad shot. The first ethical thing you can do as a hunter is make sure you're able to, make sure you know how to handle your hunting tools. Make sure that you know how to shoot, and take the best, most ethical shot that you can. But then if you can't find that animal, whether you're searching on foot and you bring in a dog and you bring in a drone, you owe it to that animal to do absolutely everything you can to locate it. If it needs to be put down, if it just needs time to expire, whatever, you don't just leave it out there.
I agree. I see Reece's point. I mean, I'm right there with him on keeping things kind of old school. When it gets to that point, for sure, don't wait too long.
Yeah, right. And you know when it's time to do something different. I'm grateful that we have a lot of guys out here with blood dogs and drones these days. I mean, there's years ago there was many times that we could have used something like that. Back in the day in the 80s.
Me too.
we didn't lose many, but I feel like there was times that we could have recovered those deer if we would have had something like that.
Yep. I can think of 2 instances in my life where I could have had. I know y'all seen that deer behind me before, where I've had a couple of them close to that size that I lost. All right, so let's Zach, you there?
I'm here.
All right, everybody. Zach's gonna show us this little setup here and everything. So I'm gonna let you take off from here, Zach.
So I'm gonna try to get this to come through as best possible, but that's what I'm looking at on the remote. And there's my hand. I don't have the biggest of hands, but that's how big this remote is. That's an 8-inch screen there.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
And it's loud too. It's 32 inches wide, I believe, whenever the propellers are folded in.
Wow. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. That's really cool.
Man, I wish he could show how high that thing could go.
Well, that's what I was about to ask. That how far high? How high will it go? A, and B, how high are you allowed to go?
I'm allowed to go 400 feet.
Yeah.
And I have to stay within line of sight as far as distance goes.
Gotcha.
The drone itself is rated for 8 miles. It's either 8 or 6. I think it's 8 miles. So I've never been that far. I've only been as far as I can see. Once you can't see it anymore, you're not supposed to keep going.
Yeah.
So here is, let me get zoomed in on us. This thing has a 200 power zoom on it. So I'm up at, let me take it up to 200 feet just for even numbers.
Okay.
I'm at 206 feet right now. And there's like the overview of my house. You can see the orange dot, and that's the landing pad. And I'm going to zoom this thing in where you can pick me out very, very well, and us sitting here.
All right. We've seen what it looked like there.
There's the phone that I have propped up, and the remote, and me, and showing y'all what I'm looking at.
Go over just a little bit towards you. There you go. Wow.
And that's
from 200
only
feet in the air.
that's
That's
only
wild.
80 zoom, and this thing will go up to 200.
So you're at 200 feet, and you're not even fully zoomed in all the way.
Yeah, so there's 40 power. 206 feet.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Man, you could catch the daggone cockroach picking its nose, man. Daggone.
Yeah, Mike, that's wild, dude.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
How about this? Let's see if I can find a deer right here.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And go ahead and show us that pretty garden. I know you got the garden going.
There's a deer right there. Oh, she just moved. Hold on.
Here's that
Oh,
thing
there's another
falling.
one. See the deer coming across the screen right there? Right there on the crosshairs.
You
I
know,
don't know if she's coming through.
spotted a deer that quick.
Yeah, she's got her head down right now. She's just right beside the tree. See the brown moving?
Yeah, the crosshead.
Wow.
Yeah, man. See, that's crazy.
And so I do that by switching over to the thermal, and you can see just to the right of the green square, you can see the little red dot. That's a deer.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. Was to try to thermal so everybody could see that.
And I can I can zoom the thermal in to I think 20 power, but it gets really, really grainy past 5.
I
So
got you.
even there's 5 power, and there's those 2 or 3 deer standing there.
Well, you just hold that right there. I'm gonna make a trip down there right quick.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I'm just kidding.
All right, so how many people out there have used this to their advantage to get off the couch and, man, I might need to go track to my stand real quick.
I don't know how many have done it. It's there's not a whole lot of legislation for it right now. Up in Ohio is where all this started. There's a lot more legislation up there than there is in North Carolina right now, but we're getting there. Our state's just trying to play catch up right now.
Is there a lot of businesses like yours out there around the country?
It's growing, and it's growing really, really fast. The first year, the year before I got into it, I think there was 4 guys in the state, and last year, whenever I started, there was, I don't know, probably 20, something like that. So it's growing.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I'm gonna go ahead and land this thing real quick.
No, go ahead, man. I know you don't want to use up all your battery.
That reminds me, Zach, somebody was asking if you knew of anybody who does this in Central Florida that you would recommend.
I don't know anybody personally. I know Vantage Point has a website. Hold on, let me get this thing up. Hold that thought. I'll be there.
I can hear it. It must be close.
I'm gonna tell you, man, watching that thing at night though, especially with that that spotlight that it had,
Yeah.
it was crazy. That was
Make you think you're watching watching one of them movies where those things got guns on them or something.
Yeah. Hey, you could probably put one on there.
That spotlight was so sharp that it looked like a UFO thing that could just suck you right up. It was that.
That's what it looked like, a UFO ray.
Yeah, that a while back, everybody was tripping out about him. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was probably one of them. That's probably one of them.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
it was that. That's what it was, bro.
So right here where I have that little sticker, I have that little mountain piece, and that's how I mount my spotlight to the drone.
Okay.
And then it plugs in right back here. I've got little ports or whatnot.
That's really cool. Now you just need to figure out how to hook a fishing line up to it, and you can literally drive it over the water and wait till your bobber goes down, and you can just fly up and hook it.
I've seen videos of people doing that, and then they're then they're down a drone.
Yeah. Too big of a fish did it, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a cool setup. Stephen Keller says, I've seen him fly some. He is a pilot.
Oh yeah, man. He's good at it. He's real good at it. He was real thorough. The other thing I don't think we talked about is even coming into, over top of an area, he didn't just sweep that area just like that. He moved to the same spots but from different angles.
Yeah.
Shine the light. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that, in case there was some foliage, this way, he could get back to the same spot from a different angle.
Yeah.
And that's how he found Boogie, because he'd already been over that spot where he was, and he came from a different angle and then spotted him.
So whenever I first started flying, we found that rock that was shaped a lot like a dog, and it had a weird line going across the backside of the rock that even looked like the spine of a small dog kind of hunkered up. And the back end of it was a little bit bigger than the front, which made me think of a dog curled up, and his thighs were bigger than the shoulders. But after I found that, we realized it was just a rock. I went over top of the thicket, and this thicket was at the thickest side that I was searching was probably, and Reece, correct me if I'm wrong here because I haven't been here in the daylight, probably 75 yards wide at the most, and then came down all the way to a point, maybe 100 yards out in front.
Yeah, out in the front, that's the widest part of it, and then it starts to taper off as it goes up the hill into like a gully or ravine or a hollow or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after we realized that was a rock, I flew over top of the whole thicket, and I could keep the whole thicket in frame. It was that narrow, but it was so dense. I stayed over top, and I flew all the way down to the end and found, the whole time we were searching, I found probably 25 or 30 rabbits. They're everywhere in there. I covered it from the top. I came back and covered it from the top as well. That way, maybe that angle of flying this way and not seeing anything and then coming back, and I might catch something at that angle. And then I got to kind of the rock area. There was a big tree right there that I used as a marker. And I got from the thicket, and I got a little bit lower, but then I come from the side, and I just flew looking sideways like that, trying to look into the angle, kind of like if I was looking out through the woods here.
Yeah.
Trying to mimic that, and nothing. Went all the way down to the end, and then come all the way back. And then starting from the other side is whenever I was coming from the opposite side of the thicket at an angle. And I was, at this point, I wasn't checking not everything that was just hot. I was looking at stuff that was mediocre hot, because I said, well, if Boogie has passed, he's not going to be as warm as a rabbit that's still alive. So then I started looking for shapes in the heat as well. And whenever I got back, and I don't think I was more than 15 or 20 yards from that hot rock, which I'd done been over, at least 3 times, maybe even more, I found a heat signature that was white and somewhat pink, but it was shaped almost kind of like a bean. It wasn't like a full circle, but I could see a little bit of just as I was looking down from the top, which ended up being the front legs and the shoulder area, and then down his body a little bit, which is what made that curve. And I lit it up, and immediately. I mean, everybody knows the coloration of a beagle, and then all I could see was a little bit of his neck, his shoulder, and a little bit of his side there. And Reece was standing right there with me. I said, "Yeah," I said, "That's for sure him." And then I zoomed way in and got a better angle, and it was obviously him.
Yeah.
Well, Reece, how old was Boogie?
Boogie was just about 2.5 years old, man. He was young. He was he was coming on strong. He was going to be for his age, and no more than he had been ran the year before. Boogie was going to be a star. He was going to be a superstar. That's for sure. And that's, I'd worked with him, and Boogie was hard-headed. He was headstrong. I mean, he was a good dog, and he listened. He was pretty disciplined, but when he wanted to be hard-headed, he would be. So I'd worked with him and worked with him on handling, and he was gotten to where all I had to do was say the name one time, and he would pop up and come on. And we I developed. Well, let's just say that I gained his trust a lot. Just because he was given to me from a good friend of mine, because we had lost an old jump dog. Hank was old. So somebody gave Boogie to us, and when you change owners and you change hands like that, dogs have to come around most of the time and get used to their new environment and the new owners. And so I developed and gained trust for him and him for me, and we got pretty tight. You know what I mean? And I was glad to spend that little bit of time with Boogie. I had him for probably about what was it? About a year and a half, probably. I was glad to have that with him.
I got you. I know. So y'all were just doing out on a training session when all that happened?
Yeah, you were training.
Yeah, training and conditioning. We have 3 more. Let's see. Yeah, Blue, Noah, and Star. They're all 2 years old. But we got Coda, Preacher, and Huck, and those they just turned 1 April 1st. So had them out there, and they're going to be tough. This is going to be one of the best, probably the best packs we've ever been able to build. Last year we didn't have much because most of the older dogs and older pack that we had, they were aging out, and so anyway, just training, getting them young pups, getting them geared up, getting them ready.
I got you. I know this is all subject, but I wanted to ask you how the dog association stuff is going.
Oh, the Sport Dog Association?
Yeah, how's things going with all that?
Man, it's going good. It's going good.
Great.
It's a good thing. It is it's vital in North Carolina. It's a huge advocate for dog hunting here. I'm enjoying it. You already know how passionate I am about hounds and hunting with hounds, and it's given me an opportunity to focus that passion that I have and make it really count.
Good deal. Is that what's some of your future goals or anything like that? Do you have, like, where do you see yourself with your business, I guess, in a few years?
That's a good question. Right now it's obviously just definitely on the side. Maybe one day if it grows, maybe I could take it full time and be able to that being my only stream of income. I don't know, that would be the only goal that I have in mind. Just getting to do it more, getting to help more people, because there's, even in the drone world, there's some people that don't put in the effort, and I like being one of them out there that's going to put in the effort and put in the time and give it my all. And I think everybody deserves to have someone to come fly for them that's like that. So I would like to spread myself as far as that goes, but maybe leave that impression on other pilots as well.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna jump in right there. Just from what Zach showed us that night, the attention to detail and his interest in wanting to help us. It was pretty much a little more interpersonal than just a service, and I like that about him. And if there's anything that I can do to help Zach grow, I'm going to do it.
That's exactly right. I'm right there with you. I didn't even get to experience it, but just from the story you told me, and then from just talking to Zach, that seems like one of the people you could have a conversation with, and you just met him, and you could be friends with him, like you've known him for a long time. So I can see where you're coming from.
Absolutely, that's what it felt like. That night he just real easy to be around, personable guy.
Yeah.
That was it's good to be able to meet him.
Through a very unfortunate and sad circumstance of losing Boogie, and that's how I got to meet Reece and Sarah, and now you, Brent. Even though that was a very bad scenario, I'm so glad that I was able to make some friends from it, and I plan on and look forward to getting to hunt with Reece and Sarah and getting to talk more with you, Brent, and all four of us combined, and that's the positive that I try to take away from it, even though, Reece and Sarah lost a dog and a family member.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sarah.
It was an unfortunate reason, but the closure that Zach was able to give us, because for those 2 days, Reece was beside himself. I mean, he was beside himself afterwards, but not knowing if Boogie had survived the bite and was out there in pain, if he was alive and wandered out into the field at night, if a coyote would get it, we didn't know, because dogs survive those bites all the time and just stay hunkered down. But if he was hunkered down and then came out into the field at night, we knew there was coyotes out there. So we had to know one way or another. And the piece of knowing and having that closure was priceless.
Yeah.
As we were out there that night, we heard 2 different packs of coyotes just in the area. They weren't necessarily right on top of us, but they were still in the area.
2 different sections. There was a bunch of them out there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, Zach, we're definitely gonna get them to do some hunting, man. I'd like for you to join us on some rabbit hunts as well. We should have some space for one.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, me.
Yes, sir.
Me too, man. I'm gonna try to make my way up, like I told y'all I would.
Yeah, man. Deer hunts too, Zach. You got to get in there with them dogs, dude. One time.
That'll be a new experience. I've never hunted deer with dogs before. I've been fortunate to hunt rabbits with beagles a small handful of times, but
I'll tell you what. If you get to hear them hounds rolling one towards you, it'll get your heart going.
I've only experienced it once, but I can remember it was definitely a thrilling, like a feeling you can't describe.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
I know we probably need to get off the machine. I know he's outside. Zach's outside, and it's
starting to get dark.
He's gonna be outside in the dark.
Yeah. We don't want to get. Well, he's got that drone out there. He'll be able to see something.
Yeah,
he could just set it up and have it hover above him, and with the spotlight down on him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he could do it. I mean, absolutely. It's like he's standing on stage somewhere.
Heck yeah. Do you got anything else to add, Zach, or do y'all think we need to touch on before we get off here?
I don't have anything wrote down that comes to mind, and nothing Nothing that I can think of. Wanted to send my condolences again to Reece and Sarah for the loss of their pup, and wanted to thank everybody for my chance to come on here. I've never done nothing like this before, but I'm glad to step out of my comfort zone a little bit and try it out, and had a good time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I did too. Same here, Reece and Sarah. I'm sorry about y'all's loss.
Appreciate y'all.
And I'm glad I was able to talk with y'all again tonight. I missed you, Reece. I ain't seen you in about, I don't know, 3-4 weeks now. So
It's been a minute, man. Been a little, little rough patch right there and everything.
yeah, yep.
I think you got a little bit busy too at one time, but
I did.
If y'all want to, we can. Is there any questions or anything anybody said in here that we can touch on? Or
no, I haven't seen any.
All right.
But I was gonna say, as far as for me and you, Reece, we'll just stay in contact, and we'll try and set up another time for us here soon and talk about some more stuff, man.
Yeah, no doubt. We need to. I know there's been several topics we brought up, so yeah, we'll do that.
Yes, that one earlier. I was really intrigued by that one earlier.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. I love stuff like that. Reece, you got any shout outs you want to give anybody?
Yeah, actually I do. I want to give a shout out to Wade Holdcraft with extended range antennas out at Hound Recovery Outdoors. I want to give a shout out to Ryan Cannon with Native Dog Supply. Really good guys, really great customer service, and they are sponsors of the North Carolina Sport Dog Association, and we appreciate that big time. There's a lot of
Where are these?
that's Wade.
Okay.
That's Wade. Oh yeah, Ronnie Mace with Value Pack Dog Food as well. He's been really good on keeping up with complaints. If there's been any complaints about dog food, he's the area rep here. Bob Plot and Plot Fest, May 17th, Maggie Valley. If y'all are interested in being there, there's going to be a lot of events with Plot Dogs doing bay events and stuff like that. As let's see, what I'll say.
You said Maggie Valley?
Yeah, Maggie Valley. I lost my train of thought there for a minute. I forgot what I said. But May 17th, Maggie Valley in North Carolina. I can't remember when that's going to start, but if anybody's interested, go to Bob Plot's Facebook page and look that up.
It's so funny you just said Maggie Valley. My neighbor just was just talking about Maggie Valley the other day about a car show or something recently. What they have there, I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
there's a lot of big events held out there.
I got you. Sarah, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When you gonna take Reece back out and show him up on the water fishing?
Where am I gonna what?
Show Reece up on the water fishing.
Oh, well, I haven't been fishing nearly enough yet this year. I need to get out there. I've been working too hard. So. But when we get out there, I'm gonna show him up.
I know you will.
It's a good chance she can fish her ass off. Excuse my language.
I do want to mention real quick, if there's any women watching or any men watching who have women in their lives who hunt and fish, I am an admin in a Facebook group called Women Who Hunt. There are over 64,000 women hunters from all over the world in that group. We don't allow a lot of advertising, but if you are looking for an outfitter or something, we do occasionally allow people to post in there looking for hunts in other parts of the country or in other countries even. But it's 64,000 women, 0 men in that group. So it is a safe place for women to ask questions, learn. We educate, uplift, and empower each other. It's a good place to be if you're a woman who hunts, or if you know a woman who hunts, suggesting that group to her.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that page before. That's really awesome. I actually just joined one myself today that's similar, but I think they allow, I don't know, they allowed me, but it was my business page, but I was posting one of those pictures of my daughter on there, and they accepted it. You know, I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love seeing that as well. I love seeing the women out and outdoors. I hope it keeps growing because we need the women and we got to have the kids to make
Yes.
it come together and stay strong.
Hey, Brent, I missed the shout out, man. I want to give a shout out to Zach over at Fire Eye Drone Services.
What's his name again? Who is that?
Zach Turner.
Zach Turner, Fire Eye Drone Services.
Yes, sir.
Heck yeah, man. I've heard that dude knows what he's doing.
Hey.
He's an amateur.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I guess we can cut it off here. I know I'm getting kind of dark. I don't want to keep Zach out there getting ate up by the mosquitoes and all. So I think we had a great episode tonight. We went an hour and 15 minutes, so that was a good one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, let's all stay in touch and good luck to you, Zach. I wish you all the best, brother. And I'll anything you post, if you ever need me to help you out, advertising wise, something, get with me, man. I don't mind helping you out.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. We'll definitely keep in touch.
That sounds great. Well, all right. Well, let's get talking to you. I'm gonna get up and go end this thing, and I'll talk to you soon, Reece, about me and you getting on. Okay, brother?
All righty, fellas.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Sarah, for coming on and talking with us too. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, see you, Zach.
Bye,
I'll talk to you. How you leave now?
All right, everybody. That's gonna wrap up this week's episode. We'll see y'all again next week. Appreciate it. Thank y'all for watching, and shoot me some stars. And maybe if you can do $5 a month, go subscribe. It would really help me out. I really appreciate that. Thank y'all.